Hey y'all, welcome to Bushcraft Wednesday. I'm Madden from Self-Reliance Publishing, and in this video we're going to be talking about charring natural material. A few weeks back I did a video about making char cloth, and if you've seen that video or if you're familiar with the process of making char cloth, charring natural material is the exact same process and follows the same principles. I want to make this video though to point out that you're not limited to using cotton cloth when it comes to charring material. I want to gear this channel towards long-term self-reliance, whether that be on the homestead or in the woods. And if you're in a long-term wilderness living scenario, eventually you're going to run out of man-made cotton cloth to char. And in that case, you should be aware that you can turn to natural materials to make char material from. Just about any natural tinder material can be charred. For this video, I went and gathered some punk wood, which is this stuff right here. Punk wood is, if you're not familiar with it, it's decayed, partially decayed wood. It's very light and sort of feels like styrofoam, has a styrofoam consistency to it. It's definitely started the decay process, but it's not so decayed that it crumbles to the touch. The inner bark from some trees like tulip poplar makes a good char material, as well as the heads of cattail plants. There's some tender funguses out there that make a good char material. Most things out there char decently well. One thing that I've experimented with that didn't work very well is this birch bark right here. I've tried it a few different times and none of it took well to spark after I charred it. This tends to do better in an uncharred state for whatever reason. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind that is, but that's just my experience, that the birch bark doesn't seem to char very well. But most other natural tinders will take a char and perform well. So with that being said, let's head outside and start charring some of this punk wood. I don't want to rehash all the things that I talked about in the charring cloth video in this video, so in the interest of time, if you're not familiar with the charring process, be sure to bounce over to my channel and look for the video I have about making char cloth. In this video, I'm going to restrict our conversation to charring natural materials. So one thing to keep in mind when it comes to charring natural materials is that the natural material tends to shrink a lot. So you can use a small container like this Altoids tin here, but you're going to be doing yourself a favor if you have a larger container at your disposal so you can do bigger batches of it, and that way you don't have to char material as frequently as you would and do as many batches as you would if you only have a Altoids tin to char in. Something that I'm thinking about doing with my fire kit is purchasing another stainless steel water bottle with a nesting cup so that I can use that. I'll put my existing fire kit in that stainless steel water bottle, but I'd have that water bottle and nesting cup to use as a larger charring tin for this natural material. The punkwood especially, as well as a lot of the others, tends to have a lot of shrinkage. Something else to keep in mind is that when you're gathering material to char, you don't necessarily have to start with dry material. The moisture from wet material will evaporate and leave through the hole in the container, just like all the other impurities that are burning off. So if all you can find is wet material, that's perfectly fine and acceptable for charring purposes. It just might take a little bit longer to get to the final char. I mentioned earlier in the video that I haven't had any success charring birch bark, but I was using birch bark in my tinder bundle to start the fire for this charring process, and kind of like blowing on a sore tooth, I thought I would try it again just to see if my luck has changed. As you'll see at the end of this video, when I'm testing out the char material, the punk wood works perfectly fine and worked really well, but I still can't get that birch bark to hold a spark no matter what I do. So at this point, I think I've officially given up on the birch bark. Well, I hope you found that video helpful and informative. If you did, please be sure to check out some of my other videos as well as my website, selfreliancepublishing.com, to see what I have available there. As always, I appreciate every like, every comment, and every subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.